I really wouldn't sit in that seat. Okay, let's go. Okay, since the dawn of time, wise men, typical men thinking they know everything, have sought the answers to the big questions. Why are we here? What shapes our destinies? Why did my crops fail? Why did that general lose me land, etc.? And these men are con men, as you can see. That, apparently, is a lion. Crude drawings such as these were called constellations, another marketing gimmick that went horribly right for somebody somewhere. Now, these constellations came in types of 12, which was useful because there were only 12 types of life 3,000 years ago. You were probably either a slave or a soldier or somebody else who died in a brutally short and horrible way after about 25 years doing something for somebody else. We need something more. And Mystic Meg has carried on this con man tradition, and I want in. Okay. Our polysexual, metrosexual, whatever it is, super multi-nanotechnological times deserve more. There's more than 12 types of people in that row. And so I decided this. What if it wasn't where an arbitrary drawn set of stars where you were born that shapes your character, but the number one single when you were born? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Poposcopes. Here is a chart, a quick graph. There used to be hardly any number ones, but you shall see as time has progressed, each year there's nearly an increase in number ones, and that's because our society is changing, and I'm going to prove that now, he said, hopefully. Back in the 1950s, one of the first number ones was this car salesman, pious, smooth-talking Frankie Lane guy who had number one for ages with a song called I Believe, a really pious sense of condescending politics. And you'd be surprised to find that this chap here was number one. And he, like Frankie Lane, who was number one for about 2 years with that song, like his premiership, it went on and on and on forever with a sense of certainty that you only get from dressing like a second-hand car salesman. 1966 was what pop historians called the annus mirabilis of pop music, when people like the Byrds with 8 Miles High, the Beach Boys' Good Vibrations were able to get to number one with sonic leap forwards and psychedelic jumps of imagination, the Four Tops. But David Cameron was number one when the most boring conservative song of all time, Distant Drums by Jim Reeves, was number one for a summer. He can't help it. It's not the bedroom tax, you know. If he'd been number one, if he'd been born when the Byrds were number one, we'd all be on escalators to the moon. The Beatles, he had so many number ones in the 60s that basically there's a very good chance that anybody born in the 60s would have a Beatles track as their number one. But Hello Goodbye is a particularly appropriate one because of the following person who was born when it was number one. Heather Mills McCartney, Hello Goodbye. I mean, it's pretty cruel as it is, but if you consider the fact that Hello Goodbye is also an anagram of Oh Bye Leg, it adds a sinister, somewhat mystical feel to proceedings. Who would have thought? Can anybody guess who was number one when Runaway, this melodramatic track, was number one in 1961? Runaway. Anyone else hazard a guess? No audience interaction allowed? I'll tell you now. Runaway. It was written in the stars. You know Runaway, the one that goes... It's dreadful, really. It's very old-fashioned, but so the royal family. It was written in the stars, really, that as Diana progressed, that she would have children. Can you guess which one of her children was number one was born when Goody Two-Shoes was number one? Clue, it's not James Hewitt's son. This, the heir to the throne. Look at him. He's beautiful. Prince William. Look at him. Prince Charming, Goody Two-Shoes, any of those could have been number one. Stand and Deliver, you know. So. These are going quite slow now. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, me. When I was born, pretending to be something I'm not like I am right here, was Clive Dunn of Dad's Army. He was only about 16, pretending to be a 65-year-old granddad. And on the right are my 2 grandchildren. I know I didn't look old enough, but I am. There's Henry and Oliver. Anyway, the point of this whole Poposcopes thing, I was pondering, like, if we can tell how people are going to turn out, just by looking back at a few arbitrary number ones, then can we change the course of human history? This is the big plan. I drew up a massive calculation in my head and did it on a board. But basically, it turns out like this. If we buy better records and make those better records number one between us, we can create a better world full of better people. And I can prove it. Stephen Sutton on the left, the late cancer charity campaigner and fundraiser, was born when the amazing Stay Another Day, the last great Christmas number one, was well done. And Jessica Ennis was born when Aha won number one with The Sun Always Shines on TV, and I will argue to the cows come out as the greatest record ever made. And just to back that up, Ched Evans was born when Mistletoe and Wine was number one. I'm just saying, okay? Thank you very much. It's been a great audience. Thanks to you. Cheers.